Hey everyone, welcome back once again to my end of year video where I tell you guys the 10 best games that I played throughout the year. This is my 7th year in a row doing that, and that means that next year marks 8 years of me doing weekly videos here on YouTube, and I've only missed a few in that entire time, which is just insane. Anyway, as the tradition goes, I've checked Backloggery to see how many games I bought this year compared to the years previously, and actually this year marks the lowest number of games that I've bought since I started making these videos. I've only actually bought 106 new games compared to 209 last year, which is a very big achievement for me. Maybe it's a mix of factors, you know, buying a new house, having to spend a lot more money on bills this year. Of course, it's getting more and more difficult for me to buy games as well, just because I own so many, as you can see around me. Anyway, I have played 10 really cool games this year, so let's get straight into it. And I've actually ordered these in the order that I played them throughout the year. So the first one is a game that I haven't actually got physically to show you. It's a game I actually played on Steam with my girlfriend right at the start of the year in January. And I really enjoyed playing this. The game was called Raft, and it's a multiplayer, open-ended adventure game where you basically build up this raft and explore the sea and discover loads of hidden mysteries around all of these different islands and different sort of abandoned bases and buildings that you find throughout your experience. I thought it was really fun. I don't really like that kind of multiplayer survival and crafting kind of game that often, so when I played Raft and I actually turned out to really enjoy it, I was quite surprised, so I definitely recommend checking it out, even if you're not into that genre of game. Next up is a game that I'd been looking forward to ever since it was first announced, because I'm a massive fan of both of the Game Boy Advance games. This was of course Advanced Wars 1 and 2 Reboot Camp, and this came out at the perfect time for me. It came out just before we were going on holiday to Tenerife, and I took this and my Switch and I played it all the way there on the plane. I played it in the hotel room in the evenings, and I played it all the way back home as well. So really loved this game. It was a fantastic upgrade of two of my favourite games on the GBA, which I actually gave my #1 slot on my top 15 Game Boy Advance games video, so I would rate the Switch version really highly as well. I really can't get enough of it. I haven't finished Advance Wars 2 on there just yet, so maybe that's something that I can attempt to do over this Christmas break. Now next up is another downloadable game, and this was the DLC for the Resident Evil 4 remake. I'm a big fan of the original Resident Evil, and I really loved the remake too, so when the Separate Ways DLC came out I was very excited to play that, and it did not disappoint. In fact, I actually said this when I completed the game, I enjoyed playing Separate Ways more than I enjoyed playing the base game. I just thought the gameplay mechanics were so much fun. The way you can swing around as Ada and use your grapple hook to jump across the roofs of buildings, and there's loads of really cool combat opportunities in the game, and I love the way that you see Leon and Ashley's story from her perspective as well. It's really cool, and it really ties everything together really nicely, especially a bit later on towards the end of the game where you kind of see behind the scenes of the facility and stuff through Ada's point of view. It's really cool, and I definitely recommend playing it if you enjoyed the Resi 4 remake. Now the next game here is actually my personal favourite game of the entire year, that came out this year at least, and that is Pikmin 4. I was just so happy with how this game turned out. I'm sure you know by now, but I'm a massive fan of the entire Pikmin series, and I've been looking forward to this game ever since I finished number 3 on the Wii U, and then Miyamoto did that very famous interview where he said it was almost complete way back in like 2015 or something, so we had to wait almost another 10 years before we actually got a chance to play it, but I have to say it did not disappoint one bit. I loved all of the new gameplay mechanics, I loved the nighttime mode, I loved the fact that it was just a much bigger and broader adventure, and the way they integrated the caves from Pikmin 2 into this game was really cool as well, and I loved the Dandori challenges. I just loved everything about it, honestly. I loved Ochi, or Otachi, whatever you pronounce his name as. The whole game was just so much fun, and I really can't wait to see what they do with Pikmin 5. Let's hope it doesn't take another 10 years. So if Pikmin 4 was my favourite game that was made in 2023, my favourite game that I actually played this year has to go to Finding Paradise, which is a game that I played here on the ROG Ally, and I played this one in bed over the course of like a week or two, and it's something that I'd been meaning to play for a very long time, and wow, this story was so engrossing and so emotional. I got so invested in it. It was literally all I could think about the whole time I was playing this game. Even the day after at work, even like when I was in the shower, when I was going for a walk, all I could think about was what was going on in this game and how it would end up evolving over the course of the game. And even after the fact, I actually made a podcast about a month later saying how much I loved the game and how much I couldn't stop thinking about it. So I've actually had this game since it came out in 2017, and for whatever reason it took me until now to play, and it has to be the best game that I played this year. It's a follow-up to the Moon, so if you ever played that in the past, then you kind of know what to expect with this. It's a very heartfelt story of, you know, someone's dying wish, and you go into their memories and you try and alter their experience in life. And wow, Kangao is just a master storyteller, and I really can't wait to play Imposter Factory. I'm going to save that one for next year because I can only handle one game of this emotional magnitude per year, I think. And then the next game that I played that I really enjoyed is definitely a much more lighter game. It is called Hes Quest, and I did a review of this on my YouTube channel, so definitely check it out after you've watched this video. The game basically feels like a fan game in the mould of the Zelda Game Boy Color games, and they did a fantastic job with this. If you want to know my full thoughts and opinions, definitely check out my video review, but I definitely recommend it. It's one of the best homebrew games that I've played all year, and as you can see, it actually got a full proper release from Limited Run as well, and it was made by Crunchyroll and it features their mascot character. So overall, fantastic game, and it definitely pushed the capabilities of GB Studio to its absolute limits. Now next is a game that I played for Halloween, and again this is one that we've actually had for a while already, but I finally got round to playing it. That is Alan Wake Remastered, and again I just fell in love with the story. It's not that great in the gameplay department, it does feel like it's aged quite badly. The controls aren't great, the gameplay, the fighting mechanics, everything feels a little bit more clunky than it probably should, like even the way the camera moves and the character moves. But look past that and there is an incredibly engrossing and very complex story to go alongside this as well. I love the way it was told through all of the different manuscript pages that you find, and seeing the TV screens in the game as well and getting like back and forth between FMV and gameplay. It's just a really cool concept, and it set up the sequel perfectly. And I have started playing Alan Wake 2 as well, but I haven't finished it just yet. But I'm enjoying that one just as much as I enjoyed this. But definitely play the first one first, because there's so many characters that go straight into the second game, so you need the sort of background that this game gives you before you can properly, fully experience the sequel. But I'm so glad that I played this. It's one that I'd been meaning to play for such a long time, and it really didn't disappoint. I can honestly see why it's such a cult classic. So stick with it if you're a bit worried about the gameplay being a little bit basic. It does get more interesting and it does get better to play as well, so stick at it. Now, this one might come as a bit of a shock to you, but the next two games in the list are actually two games for my phone. These are actually two Apple Arcade games, and I'm sure you can guess what one of them is. Yes, of course, it is Sonic Dream Team. And I say it's a phone game, but I actually played this on my Mac using a PS5 controller, so it was basically a console-like experience for me. And what an awesome game this was. I actually much preferred playing this than I did playing Sonic Frontiers that came out a few years ago. It's just the perfect 3D Sonic game for me, honestly. They just nailed everything they set out to do with this game. It's really fast, it's really fun, it's really colourful, it has 3 different playable characters, the worlds and the environments are so unique, it's all sort of set in a dreamscape, and I just love the Eggman City stage where it's just inflating his ego. And I love the little voice line that they put in there where it's like, it's against the law to exceed 5 miles an hour. It's just so funny, it's just so fun, and I really enjoyed it. Again, this is one that I did a video review on too, so go and check that out after this. This next one is another Apple Arcade game. This one is Puzzle and Dragons Stories. I was a massive fan of the original Puzzle and Dragons game that came out on the iPhone back in 2010 or 2011, but unfortunately they shut the servers down in something like 2015, and I'd put so many hours into that game, so when I found out that there was a sequel coming to Apple Arcade, I was so excited, and it actually turns out that it came out on exactly the same day as Sonic Dream Team as well, and I've been playing this non-stop on my phone ever since I finished Sonic, and let's see where I'm up to at the minute, and maybe you can let me know in the comments where you guys are on the game. I am rank 23, and there's a look at my team so far. If it'll focus, there you go. I just love the character designs and I love the gameplay of this so much. So I was just so happy that there's another Puzzle and Dragons game for me to play. And the final game, and one that I was actually playing on Tuesday over on my Twitch channel, this is something that I'm hoping to finish before the new year. This is Resident Evil Deadly Silence. This is a game that I'd wanted to play for a long time, and now that I've finally got it, me and my girlfriend decided that it would be a really cool idea to compare this to the GameCube remake and see what the differences and the similarities are. So we've actually been streaming both games simultaneously over on Twitch. I've been playing the DS one and she's been playing the remake, and it's such a great game for the DS. It just blew my mind, some of the really cool and inventive features that are exclusive to this version of the game. Like, it has first person sections where you can use your knife to attack the zombies. There was even bits where you blow into the microphone, like you're giving this guy CPR.
Oh.
Is that him?
Yeah.
Yeah. Richard, what happened?
Can you imagine? He's just napping.
His breathing has stopped. Try mouth to mouth.
That's an option?
Yeah, should I try it? You
Yeah.
might eat it? Okay, I'm gonna try it. Oh my god, what?
Ah! Oh, you have to do it. Wow. I don't think you need to blow. You could just make a noise.
Ah!
Look, he's breathing. Live!
Oh my god, how much do I have to do? Breathe! Breathe! Breathe!
Okay. Well, that's too much. Oh my god, you watch his belly. Watch his belly as you blow.
Oh, you have to take deep breaths. Oh! Oh no! I blew too much!
You could blow!
Or you're blowing out candles, or you're doing all kinds of different puzzles, and the graphics and the gameplay are just as good, if not better, than the PlayStation 1 original. So really fantastic game and a great way to end the year. So thank you once again everyone who's been sticking with me throughout another year on YouTube doing weekly videos. I can't believe I've managed to keep it up for 8 years now. That's honestly incredible. Thank you all so much for your continued support. If you do want to support me, go ahead and check out Patreon down below. No strings attached or anything, you can even join for free, and I'm planning to do a newsletter once a month over there in the new year, so that's something to look forward to, and I've got so many really cool plans, so definitely subscribe because you don't want to miss anything coming in 2024. That's a promise. Anyway, thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed this video in particular and you want to check out last year's, then click the video up there and watch that one next. Goodbye.